There we go. Get in the mood. Woo! What do Ousmane Dembélé,
Kevin De Bruyne,
Naby Keita.
and Leroy Sané have in common?
They all turned their backs on the Bundesliga.
Is the Bundesliga just a training ground for young talent?
how can the league change and keep those talents here in Germany? Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Hecko. Today with me are Ed and Tom. And today we'll be talking about the Bundesliga. Is it just a training ground for the bigger leagues? Why are all the best players of the Bundesliga leaving, boys? In order to keep us in check, I'll just remind you guys that we have a timer. So if you guys talk too much, I'm going to have to bust you. So anyway, what can the Bundesliga do to keep the best players staying here in Germany? What can they do?
Money. It needs to pay them more. I mean, it needs to be competitive. It needs to be competitive on a bigger level. It needs to start scheduling games on Mondays, Tuesdays, on all nights of the week, on every different time of the day. It needs to sell big TV deals abroad. It needs money because at the moment the only team, even with a slim chance of being competitive at a European level, is Bayern Munich. And well, perhaps not this season, but
let me stop you right there. Because what we have this season is a lot of exciting young players, and we see that with people like Jadon Sancho. Also, we have Reiss Nelson, Hakimi. We have a lot of young players that are here at this league, and they're making it really exciting this season. I know what you mentioned about Bayern Munich and having that money, but I mean, so far so good this year.
It's really exciting. Tom and I, obviously being English, it's really exciting this season to see two English youth academy products, one from Manchester City, Jadon Sancho, and one from Arsenal, Reiss Nelson, move to the Bundesliga. Nelson's on loan, but Sancho actually said, you know what, I'm going to go over there. I'm not willing to sit on the bench any longer. He was offered good money to stay at Man City, and he thought, no, I want to go and prove myself. I don't want to just be one of these players that slowly blooded into a team. He felt ready, and we're seeing great results. Both of them are absolutely smashing it for their respective clubs. And you know what, as Tom mentioned just now, yes, it's about money, but it's also about competition. And Sancho has been a big part of the fact that Dortmund are competitive this season. And I think a lot of young players are thinking, wow, look at Sancho, look at Nelson, look what they've gone and done. They're getting experience for the first time. They're putting themselves in the shop window even. Yeah. I know this all adds to the whole, is it a training ground thing?
That's exactly the point though, isn't it? Because if they just accept that they're putting themselves in the shop window and hoping that eventually Man City might come knocking again and say, look, we'll give you a place to play. Man United might come, Barcelona might come, Real Madrid might come. These are still the real top destinations for players who want to...
But you think Jadon Sancho, who's getting playing time at 18 years old, he's having the time of his life at Borussia Dortmund.
But 18 years old.
You think he's going to leave right away?
Well, how long is he going to be happy just to be getting playing time? I mean, look, right now, obviously, Borussia Dortmund is a fantastic place to be, but it's not always like that. And like Reiss Nelson is at Hoffenheim, okay, he's young, he's getting a lot of playing time, he's doing well, he's, showing his talent to everybody. He's performing really well in the Bundesliga, and of course, it's a fantastic experience to play in German stadiums and stuff, and, there are plenty of reasons why it's an attractive place to play. But he's young, he's on loan, and he's at Hoffenheim. If he really wants to be a top player, eventually that's not going to be enough for him.
But they will stick around longer, Sancho particularly, if he gets a league winners medal. Yeah. That will help. If he can be part of a team that wins the league, of course he'll stay for another season or two. So they have to maintain this success.
You're done, mate. You've been buzzed.
Buzzed out.
You're buzzed
down.
Well, anyway, but we had this before, boys. We've had players like Kevin De Bruyne. We've had also...
Dembélé.
Yeah, Dembélé.
Sané.
And they just leave.
The list is long.
Well, exactly. I mean, in some of those cases, okay, Dembélé was probably, he was picked up by Borussia Dortmund. It felt like a big break to him, and he's gone on to bigger and better things. Yeah. But if you take De Bruyne as an example, I don't think anyone has ever put themselves in a shop window more than he did with the Bundesliga.
So it's a good thing.
He got it was perfect for De Bruyne. Yeah. Things didn't work out at Chelsea. He thought, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So he thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to the Bundesliga. He won Player of the Year, bang, straight back out to Man City. And it's slightly terrifying for these Bundesliga clubs to think, okay, let's build a team around someone like De Bruyne, because he doesn't. I mean, in his case particularly, he didn't want to stay there. He always wanted to get a big move. He went back to City.
Well, no disrespect, but he was at Wolfsburg.
Yeah, and Bremen.
Yeah, but he was in a very good Wolfsburg team.
Yeah, he was.
This
but
was
that's
a different
the thing.
era.
Isn't that beneficial also for the league? I mean, at the end of the day, who's talking about Wolfsburg internationally?
It's
and
beneficial.
during that year, they were all talking about Wolfsburg.
Yeah, of course, and it is good to see, but there's a timer on it, right?
Yeah.
eventually, De Bruyne can be at Wolfsburg for a long time. He can be part of a fantastic Wolfsburg side. Everybody can be looking at Wolfsburg all of a sudden and think, oh, that little Belgian that they've got, he's not bad. But eventually they're going to get buzzed because if somebody comes along with bigger money who can offer him better career prospects in England or in other places
Spain
in Europe, exactly.
Well,
look at
Even if
Dembélé,
Juve come knocking, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The actual chance, if you're professional athlete and want to achieve things at the highest level possible in your field, and Manchester City come along and say, look, leave Wolfsburg behind, it's not even a nice town, how about coming to Manchester? We're going to be in the Champions League, we're going to have we've got Pep Guardiola, we're going to win Premier League titles, and of course you're going to go and do that.
The sad thing is it's not even just that. It's not even Pep Guardiola. I mean, look at Max Meyer. He played nearly 200 Bundesliga games before he's 22 for Schalke, this darling from Gelsenkirchen. They're like pride and joy. and he's not even gone to Man United or Barcelona or Juventus or City. He's gone to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
He's just cashed in. I mean, okay, a lot of the times you can think, okay, De Bruyne, Dembélé, of course they try to go into bigger and better things.
Right.
But there's also the downside where you just think, well, why did...
So what would you do that? Why would you stop playing Champions League games to go to play at Crystal Palace?
Massive bag of cash.
Enormous paycheck.
And that's two things the Bundesliga are up against. Yes, they haven't got the prestige to keep hold of these players, but they certainly haven't got the cash that... I mean, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
They're a nobody team in England. No offence, Crystal Palace.
But they're playing but it's the Premier League, isn't it? And it's just absolutely awash with money. So
the Bundesliga is really up against it.
But how can the Bundesliga do that if we have a lot of rules here that are not allowing us to have all that money intake? As the Premier League
is a slightly different question, and it's a toss-up between whether you want to maintain a fantastic football and fan culture, or you really want to compete at the highest level. And I go with the former. Oh, and I got my answer in, mate.
But you got it in. It was good. Next topic: the fans. Where do they stay in all this? I mean, as you said, if you want to keep the fans, you want to keep this atmosphere that the Bundesliga has. What makes the league special? How can you do that if you need the money?
Let's start with, because we were talking about this quite a bit the other day. Is what the Nordkurve Gelsenkirchen have had to watch in the past few years. And we're listing all the players that they've lost, right? Meyer, Draxler,
Sané,
Neuer, Goretzka, okay to a
Yep.
Bundesliga team, but really the only one who can compete in Europe. Who else have we got?
Kolasinac, right?
Yeah.
Rakitic.
Ozil also left.
Ozil left. Schalke. I mean, unbelievable.
Tilo Kehrer,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that could seriously be like one of the best teams in the world. That squad on paper, if that's a group of players that stays together, it's unreal. Like, you can't put a limit on the possibilities that a squad like that, could have had. And they all just go. So as a fan, you're kind of long suffering. You have to basically be content to, eat up the little morsels of a season here and a loan spell there.
But like we've seen with Sancho and we've seen with Nelson, okay, it's annoying because you can't plan long term, but there is obviously a flip side. Now, I'm not saying it's all a good thing. I can see both sides. But also, suddenly you get a player like Nelson in. Okay, he's going to be gone next season, but for one season, you've got a player that's smashing goals in. Sancho's come for free, essentially, or they had to pay compensation, but they got Hakimi from Real Madrid. Okay, he's not probably going to be their long-term left back, but for a season, they're taking buy-in on this season, and they've got Sancho in their squad. They got for essentially nothing. They've got Hakimi, like I said. So okay, it's not long-term, but there's also some short-term fun to be had by taking some of these young players and knowing they're going to leave eventually.
So you can't have it all, though.
You can't. You got to choose. I mean, do you want the short-term fun of having a brilliant young player, or do you want the long-term misery of knowing that you can't really buy a shirt with anyone's name on it?
All right, boys. Because
he's going to be gone.
I want an answer. What would you choose if you were the Bundesliga?
I mean, I think there's something to be said for having a bit of short-term fun. Yeah. I mean, if Hoffenheim could somehow win the league with players like Reiss Nelson, and then they all leave in a few seasons, would they take it? I think Hoffenheim fans would take that.
Ask a Leicester City fan if they would,
exactly.
if they'd be happy. If they'd rather not ever have had Riyad Mahrez at their club, or if they are just glad that he was there for the time that he spent there.
Anyway, that's all the time we have, boys. Thank you so much for joining us. Ed, Tom, me, Hecko. See you guys next time.